It is the aftermath of UFC 305, okay? Dricus du Plessis beats Israel Adesanya. I've already done my event breakdown. I want to talk about Adesanya today. I want to lay out a step-by-step plan for what I think Adesanya's tail end of his career is, okay? And actually, I'm not even going to say tail end. In my opinion, the tail end of his career was the Strickland loss, okay? Like, understand, I'm a Strickland fan. Strickland is probably the worst loss of Adesanya's entire career. Like, objectively speaking, I think Strickland is probably the worst loss. I think that's going to look the worst on his resume out of every other person that's ever beaten him, okay? But I want to talk about what comes next. Adesanya has, let's be real here, at tops, 3 more fights. The reason that I'm going to say 3 more fights is not because of his age, not because of any of that. It's because Adesanya said so. You see, Adesanya, before the Dricus fight, he laid out what his step-by-step plan was if he were to beat Dricus. And it was 3 more fights. In my mind, in the most ideal of scenarios, you only have 3 more fights, and we assume you win all of those. Yeah, I'm going to assume you only have 2 more fights left, because he counted the Dricus fight. So let me tell you what Adesanya's plan was before this happened. Adesanya wanted to beat Dricus. He wanted to beat Khamzat, and then he wanted to rematch Strickland. That was Adesanya's plan. That's not the plan anymore, okay? So right now we have 2 more fights. We have 2 more fights with Israel Adesanya. What do I think we should do? Number 1, we ain't staying in middleweight. Let me tell you something. I'm going to rope in a few people into this just to tell you in my ideal timeline how does this play out. Adesanya is no longer going to be at middleweight. Adesanya has the same problem at middleweight that Kamaru Usman has at welterweight. The fact is, as I understand, Kamaru Usman is the number 2 guy at welterweight. But if he loses to anybody, instantly his legacy is going to get slightly tarnished. Like, understand this. Despite what Dana White wants to say, Kamaru Usman is the 2nd best welterweight of all time. Not the best welterweight, but if we look on the bright side here, the only person that beats you out in that debate is GSP, who's the 2nd best fighter of all time. Like, that's a pretty good thing to get compared to, if I'm going to be real with you. But I will also be honest with you here, Kamaru. I think you lose to Savka, and I think you lose to Leon. Like, I'll be real, man. Kamaru, I am questioning how good you were because Bilal Muhammad just bullied Leon, and Leon Edwards schooled you in the 3rd fight. I don't know. MMA doesn't make sense here. But the reason that I'm saying Adesanya and Kamaru are in the same type of situation here is if Adesanya loses to anybody in this division, instantaneously, dude, we're going to be like, oh, well, Adesanya wasn't that good. You want to know how I know that happens? Is because we do that with every person that's ever been successful in this sport when they eventually fall off. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. Even though I do think Adesanya beats Robert Whittaker. I think he beats Nasruddin Imavov. I think he beats Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, Brennan Allen, Paulo Costa, Jack Herman. Like, I think he beats everybody here. Except for maybe Khamzat. Okay, let me just admit this. After watching the Dricus fight, I actually believe Khamzat would beat Adesanya. And what the UFC may attempt to do is feed Adesanya to Khamzat Chimaev if Strickland fights Dricus, which I think they're going to do, and it holds up the division, and they need somebody for Khamzat to fight in the meantime. Or if Dricus goes up to light heavyweight and they force an interim, Adesanya versus Khamzat. I don't want you to do that because I think Khamzat beats you, even though it would be kind of funny. Adesanya, we're not staying at middleweight anymore. We're not doing that. We're going to light heavyweight, okay? Adesanya, you're fighting Jiri. You are going to fight Jiri Prochazka. This is the absolute best deal that you could ever get. If we take a look at light heavyweight right now, okay? Alex Pereira is the current champion. Jiri Prochazka doesn't have a fight and is the number 1 contender for whatever. Yo, that's actually insane. How is he the number 1 contender? I don't get it. Magomed Ankalaev is the number 2 guy. And normally, if the UFC actually liked this guy, Magomed Ankalaev is probably the most hated dude in the entirety of the UFC. And the reason that people don't bring it up is no fans actually like Magomed, and it's kind of sad, but at the same time, I don't care. It's Alex. Magomed Ankalaev is booked to fight Rakic, the number 5 guy. Rakic Rakic's last fight was a loss to Jiri at 300. Magomed's going to be fighting him. Jamal Hill is doing I don't even know what instead of like complaining on Twitter. Roundtree is currently fighting Pereira, which makes 0 sense. So here are your choices. You can either fight Nikita Krylov or Jiri. I say Jiri, because Jiri Prochazka feels left out that you fought Jan Blachowicz and not him. So if you were to ask me, if we have 2 more fights left, let's do some math over here. I need you to bulk up, maybe take some magical tit medicine, and you're probably going to grow a tit in the middle of this, and you're just going to become absolutely massive. Israel Adesanya, okay? Who knows? The testosterone levels are going to be through the roof, and we're going to have you fight Jiri. Because if you can beat Jiri, you are now at least the number 2 contender in the light heavyweight division, and you could be fighting Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira will take that fight. There is not a scenario, Adesanya, where you're going to be able to go to light heavyweight and instantly get a title shot. However, currently, there is a scenario where you're able to go up to light heavyweight and get an instant number 1 contenders match against Alex Pereira. And just so we can rope this in, I actually want Usman to do the very same thing, okay? Usman, I want you to go to middleweight, okay? I want you to lean into the fact that you beat Khamzat in the 3rd round, okay? Because Khamzat Chimaev is probably, I don't know what's going to happen with the Robert Whittaker fight. I want you to do everything in your power to get into this division. And I know who you should fight. Brendan Allen. I need you to destroy this man. Absolutely buckle him, okay? Because the fact is you're not going to be able to get Marvin Vettori because Marvin Vettori is managed by Ali, and you're also managed by Ali. You're probably not going to get that. Jared Cannonier is fighting Caio Barillo. Nasruddin Imavov, I think is... I don't know what Nasruddin... You might be able to get a fight against Nasruddin. I'm not actually sure what Nasruddin's doing. Yeah, bro, what are you doing? Robert Whittaker, Khamzat Chimaev, Israel Adesanya's moving up. You have a win over Strickland... And we can play into that a little bit, play into it. And I need you... Actually, I don't know. I was going to talk about how he should reignite the beef with Dricus, and then he called Dricus the 4th horseman of the Africans. That's like the Avengers assemble of African fighters. I'm like, that's what it sounds like to me. That's actually kind of a dope title, if I'm going to be honest with you. The 4 horsemen's pretty dope. I mean... Kamaru Usman admittedly has a weaker chance because, I mean, you're gonna have he'll have to fight Brendan Allen and then maybe get a title. Kamaru Usman admittedly has a weaker chance. Adesanya has a chance against Jiri. I think if he can fight Jiri Prochazka, beat that guy, go up to Alex, and I'm gonna be real with you, you're probably gonna get horrifically KO'd by Alex Pereira. That's just how it is. I actually think Dricus is making a mistake by going up the light heavyweight, unless he wants to continue to get fights at middleweight. I think the Strickland fight was the wisest move possible, because that's going to both draw numbers and it's going to build your legacy at middleweight. And as of right now, I mean, I thought Adesanya... I mean, I picked him to win, but I thought if anybody's going to beat Dricus right now, it's probably going to be Adesanya. Because I think Dricus beats Strickland again. I think he beats Robert Whittaker again, and I think he beats Khamzat. So right away, we're going to be able to get 3 title defenses. And then from there, Dricus might be able to challenge Alex Pereira. And who knows, in some crazy timeline, Adesanya starts manifesting shit, and he beats Jiri Prochazka and somehow beats Alex Pereira in the trilogy. And then you do Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya, double champ fight, light heavyweight. Bro, I sound stupid even mentioning that. Adesanya, here are your choices. Retire, get wrestle F'd by Khamzat Chimaev, or go up to Jiri and maybe get a title shot. Those are your choices, Adesanya. Dricus, Strickland. You're fighting Strickland. There's just no other way to do it. You fight Strickland, you get the winner of Robert Whittaker and Khamzat, and then you go up to Alex Pereira and fight him. Mate, we're gonna have a lot of double champ fights. That's what we're gearing up to. Bilal Muhammad ain't going up to fight anybody. But anyways, I think I actually did a great job. You tell me what you think comes next for Israel Adesanya. Retirement, wrestle fucked by Khamzat Chimaev, or go up the light heavyweight and fight Jiri Prochazka. You tell me which one of those sounds good, and I will see you all tomorrow. Adios.